The hostile environment, that phrase was first used by a Labour Home Secretary, a Labour immigration minister.
Right. Just because the Blairite MP Alan Johnson used the phrase once in a speech does not suddenly mean that this is Labour's creation. Theresa May introduced stuff like the Go Home bans, issued a cap on the number of Tier 2 visas, much harsher measures on language requirements, settlement requirements, income thresholds were all introduced under May.
Painful, tragic situations about Windrush. That was a problem that was decades in its incubation.
And wrong again.
But it's just like wrong. This is wrong.
The cheek of trying to blame all parties and the last generation for this is an absolute scandal. It was never a problem until you and your chums voted for the 2014 Immigration Act, which removed protection for Commonwealth citizens. Now we're requiring them to provide 4 pieces of documentation for every single year that they've been here, which is in some cases way over 50 years. I think one perfect example of this is one guy called Renford McIntyre. He was working as an NHS driver for 48 years, managed to gather 35 years worth of national insurance contributions, but despite this lost his job, lost his house, then he became ineligible for benefits, then had no choice but to sleep on the streets. This is one of many absolutely tragic cases.
The reason the Windrush generation children were caught up in this was because of a decades-long failure to regularise their immigration status.
It's just baffling. Their immigration status was settled. It wasn't the failure of the individual like you're trying to make out. It was completely amplified by the Home Office's decision to destroy landing cards in 2010, which made the task of identifying these individuals even harder. And your party's cuts to legal aid have meant it even harder for the Windrush generation to try and maybe challenge some of these cases or seek legal advice. Accept responsibility and do your absolute utmost to sort out every single case and compensate every single person who's been affected by this. Deflecting the blame like this is just completely disgraceful.